Hey there. So, when thinking about what I wanted to do videos on, there were some certain things that I felt, rather than make one big video that's far too long to be enjoyable, barely covering all of these things, that I would make individual videos, more in depth talking about it. And then if I wanted to share even more or share different aspects of it, then I could make another video and just kind of keep whatever's the interest going. And the hard part was trying to decide what is the first video I want to do. The out of nowhere one, I guess, is that I have started having anxiety-induced seizures. Because I didn't have enough going on. Let's have seizures, apparently. That started out as something that I didn't think was gonna, I thought it was just something, something stupid that was just gonna go away on its own. And then as it got worse and worse, I realized this is actually a thing. And once again, the doctors I've encountered think that I'm completely making it up, which various people who have seen it happen are sure that if I'm making it up, I deserve an Oscar because nobody can act that good. And I know I can't. But they say that because of certain things that happen during the seizure, there's no way that it could be a seizure. Even though it is clearly stated in certain seizure information that what goes on during my seizures is considered a seizure. But I'm used to the whole not being believed by doctors, so at this point I'm not letting it faze me that much because I know what's happening, I know how I feel, I know what occurs. Everybody around me who has seen it knows exactly what happens and what occurs, and none of us think that this is something that's just being blown out of proportion and being made up. Anybody that knows me knows that I'm not one to make up things to get the sympathy of others. I have no interest in making myself purposely sick so that people will pay attention to me. That's not fun, and that's not something that I feel like doing. So I guess the easiest way is to kind of go back to the first one that I can remember. Of course, with this kind of thing, it's hard to fully imagine the gravity of it if you've never seen it, but I don't really plan on putting a video of me having a seizure on the internet for everyone to see because it's not something that I enjoy experiencing. During one of them, I ended up having a voice recording because I was at a meeting and I was voice recording the meeting and ended up having a seizure. So it ended up that there was about a 4 or 5 hour recording and it included the seizure. And it was not something that I could listen to. It was painful to listen to, and it was awkward to listen to, and it just was not something that I felt like experiencing, so I definitely don't want to experience watching it. So basically, the very beginnings of it all were that I would be sitting there and I would be stressed out. I would have stuff on my mind. And, for example, I would be talking to my husband and all of a sudden I would ever since I was little, I've had this ability to disassociate. If I get stressed out, I can kind of put myself in a fog, almost like a daydream, where I'm not feeling emotions, I'm just staring blankly, okay? So the first couple times I thought that's what I was doing. I would just, I'd be staring at my husband, for example, and then all of a sudden, it was like a part of my brain shifted. So I'm staring at him, but my mind is watching myself stare at him. And like I said, I know that that may be hard to understand, but I get it. So that's the only way that I can explain it. So basically, I'm watching myself stare. And then I started getting this handshake, which I thought was strange. So my hand will just start randomly shaking like that. And so I'm looking at myself staring, and then I look and I see my hand shaking, and so I'm going, why is my hand shaking? And, you know, that's strange. And then all of a sudden it starts getting worse. And then my other hand starts shaking. And then before I know it, I'm in a full body shake. And it is, imagine a seizure. It looks just like that. Full body shaking. When it's over, my neck is sore. I have a headache. There have been times where I have been shaking so hard that I started bashing myself in the head. Luckily, when people have been around, they've been able to stop my hand, you know, by putting their hand there. So then when I hit, I'm hitting their hand. But see, the thing is that doctors don't think I'm having a seizure. They think I'm doing it for attention. Is that they have told me that I cannot be awake during a seizure. I have to be unconscious. I have to not remember any of it. But what happens to me is that I basically become paralyzed. In my mind, I can tell what's going on. I can tell what's happening, what other people are saying. I can tell it all. But I can't control. Think of being in a coma. You can hear the people talking, but you can't move. You can't respond to them. You can't do what they're saying. That's what it's like. And it is terrifying. It goes back to, why would I make that up? Why would I purposely be terrified? It's not fun. It sucks. I've been told that sometimes it's only for a few minutes, but it feels like hours. One of the times, a pizza was being made, and it felt like it was going on for eternity. But the pizza kept getting checked on, and I knew logically that the pizza only took about 20 minutes. So, if this is all going on for hours, why is the pizza not done yet? And I wasn't understanding the time. And it just, it was really scary. It is really scary. One of the days, I was at a meeting, and the speaker was at the front of the room, and I had a seizure the night before, and so I didn't feel good. And so I was afraid of having another seizure, and so my husband was watching me closely. I even told the speaker that I had been having seizures, and I was not feeling good, and so he told me to sit down. So during the meeting, I'm staring at the speaker, and I start feeling the same daydream feeling. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to have a seizure. I cannot. There's a room full of people. I cannot do it. And then I start the handshake. I just remember thinking, please, please, no, not here. My kids are awake, so if you hear them. But I really don't want to do this video over, so So I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden I can't control my body anymore. And so I'm sitting in a chair, and so I start seizing, and I can hear everybody around me, like the commotion, and luckily the people that were speaking are very assertive, and one of them is a cop. And so it was a get everybody out of the room, give her some space. I was wearing a dress, of all things, so I felt a jacket be put over me. It ended up being my husband's, and so people helped get me to the ground, and one of the speakers called 911, and I'm just laying there going, this is really happening. The last time I'd been in an ambulance was me being taken to the psychiatric hospital, and I was just like, please, no. But this was the second day in the row I was having a seizure, and I knew logically that I needed to go, and I had hopes that they would help me. So basically, I'm laying on the ground, shaking, making these horrendous, loud, painful moaning sounds. I trying to bang my head into the ground. I can hear my husband telling me it's okay. I can hear one of the speakers telling me it's gonna be okay. I can hear the people in the other room, and I'm just on the ground, shaking and convulsing and banging, and so then the ambulance shows up, and right off the bat you can tell that they're not too worried about me.